I opened the most expensive keycard room in Delta Force 40 times across normal and hard difficulty and tracked all of the loot, and what I found out will shock you. The CEO Office Reception Room keycard is currently the most expensive keycard you can buy in Delta Force operations. Believe it or not, early on in the game's release, this keycard used to go for between 4.8 to 5.6 mil, and I used to rate it as a pretty decent room. Now, however, with keycard price inflation going absolutely crazy, this card now goes for around 8.5 million credits, and on Space City launch day on mobile, it even jumped as high as 10 million. This is a common theme across pretty much all big keycards now. East Wing Manager's Office and the King Suite now cost at least 2 mil more than they did before. I remember buying East Wing for a video for 2.8 million earlier in the year, and now it's often over 5. And because of this, the whole conversation over keycard value has completely changed. What I've done for you today is to try and get some data that we can all look at objectively to see if these big expensive cards aren't worth buying anymore. I've splashed out millions on buying the CEO keycard, and I've then run it 20 times on normal difficulty and 20 times on hard difficulty, tracking all of the loot that I found and then adding up the value of it. Remember, keycards on Space City come with 40 durability, and on normal difficulty it uses 2 durability per use, and on hard difficulty it uses 4 durability per use. That means for the 20 room openings on normal, we've used just 1 keycard, but for the 20 runs on hard difficulty, we used 2 full keycards. I was able to purchase the CEO Office keycard for 8.4 million, so on normal this equates to 420,000 cost per opening of the room, and on hard this is doubled to 840,000. So that's the minimum amount we need to make each time we loot that room in order to turn a profit. Keep in mind you also get more loot containers in hard difficulty. In normal, the CEO Office keycard room has 1 large weapon crate, 2 pieces of clothing, 2 large safes, and some possible floor loot and loot on the pedestals. On hard difficulty, you also get an additional climbing bag and also a small safe as well, and it generally felt like there was also more ground loot. There is of course lots of other loot in the CEO area that isn't within the keycard room itself. The main desk in the office can often spawn keycards. I actually found 5 or 6 in that exact same spot over the course of these 40 runs, ranging in value from 40k all the way up to 2 mil. And you can also find good loot on the sofas or just on the floor up there. And of course, there is another large safe outside the office. For this test, however, we are only looking at the keycard room and not looting anything else. Obviously, the numbers tracked today don't take into account what you might lose from not extracting. It's just the value of the room itself. So keep in mind that realistically, you probably wouldn't get all of this back out into your stash. I've ignored junk items worth less than 10k per slot because in a normal match with a full inventory, you probably wouldn't take them. And I've based the values on the in-game listed item value, which is usually roughly accurate, and then taken off 13%, which on average is about what you lose when you auction something. So let's jump into the numbers themselves, starting with our runs on normal difficulty. So my first few runs on normal difficulty were pretty slow going. The first one was 160k, the second one was about the same, and the third and fourth were both around 300k. Keep in mind, I need to turn an average of 420,000 per opening in order to turn a profit, and the first 4 rooms have all been well under that. It wasn't until game 5 where I made 610,000 that we actually beat that, and that was because we found local specialty jewelry, which is worth 400 to 500,000, as well as a terracotta figurine to bump that up to over 600k. We then had another one worth 136k before a 500k brought in by finding the West Town residential bedroom keycard. That's a keycard worth a couple of 100k, as well as a lens worth 100k. Game 8 brought us one of our highest value runs of normal difficulty. I found the premium coffee beans, which are a very rare find in normal difficulty at all. I've only actually found them in normal on Space City once before. I found them on hard mode loads, and these are the coffee beans you can't buy in the auction house. You can only loot them in game, and they're used for crafting red vests. Now, it's kind of hard to quantify the the value of these, if you just sold them, the max you can sell them for is 165k, but you use them to make the worker bees that you used to make red vests or red helmets, and 1 coffee beans gives you 4 worker bees, and 4 worker bees is enough to craft 2 full red vests, which the store lists the value as 1.25 mil per vest. So arguably you could say this is worth 165k or 2.5 mil. For this, I've just valued it at a mil. I think that's kind of a fair price. You get 2 red vests out of that, 500k a pop for 2 red vests. I think it's pretty fair pricing for that, but you can make your own judgment on that. So a good lucky find there. The coffee beans were found in the weapon crate, by the way. That's where you tend to find them, in large weapon crates or in flight cases as well. You can find those. We then had a bunch more low scoring runs of 2 to 300k. Even in game 11, I found Saeed's pocket watch, the second red of these runs, but I still only got 390k from that with the other bits I found in there, which is still underneath the minimum amount we need to find per run, even though we found a red item. There's then a big run of low scoring openings until we get to game 19, where we hit another 1 mil plus. I found the keycard number 3 dormitory back room. That's a Space City keycard that's currently going for just under 1 mil. And then with the other items, that took us over the 1 mil mark for that keycard. Now, given that the 3 highest there were 1.1, 1 mil, and 600k, and then, frankly, a load of terrible ones, probably not going to be a surprise to anyone to hear that we didn't turn a profit on that keycard on normal difficulty. In total, with 20 openings on normal difficulty of the CEO office reception room keycard, ignoring junk items worth less than 10k a slot, I made 6,655,000. So that's a loss of 1.75 mil on buying the keycard for 8.4. So 8.4 mil to buy the keycard, and we made 6.6 mil looting it afterwards. That's an average of 332k per opening of the room. We needed 420, so way below what we needed to hit to even achieve equilibrium, let alone make any profit. Now, if we go back to what I mentioned earlier, that this keycard used to sell for 4.8 to 5.6 mil, then at that time, that makes it quite a good buy for normal difficulty. If you bought that keycard for 5 mil, and then you made 6.6 mil from using it, then that's a pretty good run. I'd say those 20 runs is a pretty typical kind of experience you'd get on normal difficulty. There weren't really any crazy items in there. The premium coffee beans were pretty lucky, a bit of a fluke. And you know, there's a slim chance you might find something crazy like a Heart of Africa or something in there that would suddenly make you a load of money. But when the keycard is costing 8.5 mil, I think most of the time you use it, you're just going to be hemorrhaging money on normal difficulty. But what about hard mode? You get a lot better loot table, and you get more containers in there. So let's have a look at the hard mode numbers and see if they are any better. So remember, for hard mode, we're doing 20 openings of the room again, but because it uses 4 durability per use, that's 2 full keycards to do the 20 runs. But I've done 20 because it gives us more usable data. Because of that increase in durability cost, we need to make 840k per opening of the room in order to break even across these 20 runs. The hard mode run started off very, very positively. On the very first run, I found the bust of Claudius. That's the big gold bust that's worth 2.1 mil, as well as a few other smaller items that had around a 2 mil auction value just from the first round. Pretty good start. On our second run, we managed to get another red. I found the fossil, which is worth nearly 400k, and a few other smaller items. But even with that red find, we only made about 570k, which is well under the 840k needed. We then had a run of pretty uninspiring openings of the room at 300k, 400k, 300k, 500k, and it wasn't until I got to game 8 that we had another really good one. In game 8, we found the battle tank model. This is another 2 mil red item, as well as a load of other smaller things, milli binoculars, oximeters, and all sorts of small items worth a few K, meaning that game 8 made us 2.4 million just on its own. And that's kind of how you'll tend to go with these, is you'll have a bunch of runs that are well under the value, you know, those 300, 400, 500Ks, and then occasionally you'll get a very high tier red item, and that will balance it out. That's what you're hoping for, at least, and we started off pretty well. At the moment, we're actually over the average that we needed in order to generate money. We then go on to game 9, the very next game, find another red, the golden gazelle, worth 450k, but even with all of the other bits in the room, gold crest, shiny pirate coins, ram, cutlass, etc., we still only made 625k, again under the 840k needed. Following that, we had a load of rubbish runs, 3 to 400k, pretty average, pretty typical of this. I did find the Havoc confidential files in game 13. They're a gold unbuyable item, a bit like the premium coffee beans I found in normal. You can't buy these at auction. These are used to craft, I think it's red bags in the black site. These you can sell for 20k. I don't know what you'd really value them at. You could maybe call them 100k or something, but I've just left them as 20k because they're not super exciting or interesting. And then it's not actually until game 18 that we then find anything good or any reds again. And then it's only a gold bar, which might feel exciting to find, but when you need to make 840k per run to make a profit, the gold bar doesn't make much of a dent on that. It only sells for 330k. And I even found a keycard, the West Town residential bedroom keycard again in here, which is 200k. And even with that red and that keycard, that was still only just under 800,000, still not making a profit. I did find a premium ammo part in there as well, which is another rare unbuyable item, so you could give that more value than you could actually sell it for, but still a fairly average run there. Those are also quite easy to find on hard difficulty, by the way. The premium ammo parts, you find them all the time, so they're not really that hard to come by if you play on hard mode. Game 19 was more positive. I found a smoothbore, so that's the musket that's worth 1.3 mil. That gave us a nice profit on game 19, and then game 20 we actually got double reds, but still didn't turn a profit. I found the experimental data CD and Saeed's pocket watch. They're worth a couple of 100k each, and that made us just over 600,000. So in total, from those runs on Space City on hard, I made 13 million. That's 650,000 average per run, which lost me 3.7 mil over the two keycards, or 1.86 mil per keycard. That's revenue of 6.5 mil per keycard, which remember I actually made 6.6 mil per keycard on normal difficulty, so I actually made slightly less per keycard on hard than I did on normal, so another big loss running that keycard. What I think this drives home is that 6.5 mil kind of average value you're getting there shows that the old prices on the keycard were around the right sort of ballpark area, that sort of 5 to 6 mil, a good price of the keycard. Where they're at now, just ridiculous, just not worth buying. If you find them, sell them. I couldn't recommend buying them. I think this is going to be the same for, East Wing Manager's Office, for King Suite. Like I said, there is a chance you might find something crazy in there. Everyone's got a story from someone where they found a Heart of Africa or some crazy item. But if you look at the loss over those 20 runs of nearly 2 mil on both those keycards, even if we had found another crazy red on both those runs worth 2 mil, it still would have only just broken even. And there's only a handful of items in the game that are worth more than 2 mil that if you got incredibly lucky and found, like a med event or Heart of Africa, would actually make you a decent chunk of money. So that's where we're at. On normal difficulty, we made 6.6 mil using this keycard, and on hard, we made 6.5 mil using this keycard. Spent 8.4 mil on it, so a big loss both times. Clearly, the inflation on keycards is out of control. I don't know why they're selling for this much. Presumably, people are still buying them. I mean, I guess I did, but I'm making a video. Maybe making videos telling people how bad value they are might help get the prices down, because people will stop buying them for these crazy amounts. Or maybe the spawn rates need to be increased, or the devs need to do something. I think some of this is probably symptomatic of the crazy things that are going to happen in an economy and extraction game that has no wipes. It's going to suffer from inflation problems and just kind of going to go crazy. So that's about it for today. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you've got any requests for other rooms you'd like to see me do this with, then please let me know and I'll try and get those done. Or anything else I can test for you, just drop a comment and I'll see what I can do. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to check out some of my other Delta Force guides, tips, tricks, and all that good stuff. Drop a like and a sub if you enjoyed the video. My name's Ben, we are the Beard Guys, and I'll see you next time.